Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use, but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year. And plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Welcome to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. So this is episode 30 of the podcast. Congratulations if you have listened to all 30. Mention that you have done so at your nearest coffee shop, and they will sell you a cup of coffee at regular price. That is my guarantee. Something that I started doing on the 10th podcast and then also did on the 20th is responded to feedback from listeners to the podcast and readers to the website. So whether it be an email to matthew@castingacross.com or a comment on one of the posts on Casting Across, or any sort of chirp through of my social media channels, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I've like to interact personally in all of those mediums, but also be able to kind of speak a little bit more to some of the feedback I've gotten in this forum. And, I've been teaching for about 10, 15 years now, and every lesson, not every lesson, but virtually every lesson, I end by saying any questions, any comments, and I throw in any accusations in there. I think I got that from a professor in college. I can't remember who it was, so I can't give them credit, but no one has ever accused me of anything thus far. Hey, I'm ready to be accused of misrepresenting fly fishing or something like that. So write in if you have any accusations or questions or comments. But the first thing I want to touch on is actually one of the articles that I got the most feedback from, and it wasn't even an article. So back in, when was it? It might have been just earlier last month. I put a new page on the website. So I think Casting Across kind of tries to straddle the line between being a blog and being a website. And I know that, all blogs are websites, but not all websites are blogs, or whatever that little, logic exercise is. But I write about stuff, but I do so kind of in a narrative fashion. So I write about, products, I write about brands, I write about personalities, I write about people, I write about history, but I try to do so kind of in this narrative of my interaction with it, or maybe even your interaction, the cultural interaction with it at large. So there's certainly some kind of resource elements to Casting Across, but there's also some very personal elements to it. And so I try to straddle that. I think it's more interesting than you just hearing, hey, I went fishing today. Here's some pictures of me going fishing. There's some people that do that. That's not how I want to write. Similarly, it's not lists of here's the 10 best flies, and man, I'd rather give 3 flies with my attempts at witty commentary. But those are posts. What I put up 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, are posts, and then pages are kind of more of the static elements in the website. So there's a page with all of my podcast listings. There's a page with who I am, things like that. There's also a new page called Small Stream Fly Rods. And you'll see it if you go to castingacross.com on the right-hand side, and it's a picture of me releasing an enormous brook trout, and it says Small Stream Fly Rod Reviews. But what I wanted to do is kind of catalog some of the fly rods that I have really enjoyed using on small streams. And the first 4 that are on there, and then a sneak peek of number 5 are in ascending order cost-wise. The first is the St. Croix Mojo Trout, which I believe is kind of a spiritual successor to the Avid, which was my first small stream trout rod, and I loved it. So there's the Moto Trout. And then is the Reddington Butterstick, which is a great kind of entry-level fiberglass rod because it's not as soft as a lot of the fiberglass that's out there. I know there's a lot of quick, responsive fiberglass, but at this price point, it's a really good entry-level rod, but it's totally serviceable also. Then the Douglas Upstream, which is a spectacular fly rod. I fish the 8-foot 2-weight. For small streams where you don't have a lot of canopy, this is a great fly rod. Very, very moderate action graphite, but incredibly light and incredibly responsive. Real pleasure to fish. Very, very unique too. And then the fourth one is the Sage Dart. And this rod, it has a premium price point on it, but it fishes like just a miniaturized normal trout rod. So casting the 7.5-foot 0-weight, it felt like I was just casting a very light 5-weight. I can't even describe it, but this would be the fly rod I would use if I lived on a big spring creek out west where I needed a lot of delicate presentations and I could just cast to my heart's content. It's a casting tool. Sometimes small stream fly fishing, you're doing a lot of little flick casts and little bow and arrow casts and things like that. And so the fly rod isn't so much a casting tool as a tool to get your fly where it needs to go. The Sage Dart is a casting tool through and through. And then the fifth rod that's not even on there yet is the Risen Fly Genesis. And now, not a lot of folks know about Risen Fly, but you should. They're selling the same products essentially as a lot of other manufacturers that are importing, but they're doing so at a very, very low cost. And the Genesis 7.5-foot 3-weight is an absolute steal at $95. I just took the plastic off the cork earlier in the week for a fly casting event that I did, a little mini casting instruction thing. And folks that had never cast a fly rod before and folks that have fly fished quite a bit both commented that they really enjoyed how smooth the 3-weight was. I'm really blown away by it, and I'm excited about getting it out on the stream and then putting it up on this page. All that to say is that I pushed this page out in a post and asked people to say, well, what is your favorite small stream fly rod? And I got a lot of responses. And so that's kind of what I wanted to comment on, is some of the things that people mentioned. The first thing, which is really kind of cool, is I had a couple people that mentioned the Cabela's 3 Forks. Now, if you were like me and you flip through the Cabela's catalog every time you got a new one, the 3 Forks was, I think, the second to last fly rod in the Cabela's series of rods. So Cabela's, always had their high-end rod, which was nothing, crazy out of the park price-wise, like $400, something like that. Then they had 2 or 3 other series. And they had a bottom-of-the-line rod, which was some sort of graphite composite. But the 3 Forks was one step above that, and if I can recall correctly, it retailed for maybe $100, maybe $89, maybe $119, something like that. But a lot of people that I know started off fishing with this rod really enjoyed it, and a lot of people said that they used the 7.5-footer as kind of their entry-level brook trout rod, and they ended up using it for a long time. So the Cabela's 3 Forks was a cool rod. The other ones that are mentioned, Fenwick glass, people use those. I've got 3 antique Fenwick glasses. I know that they're making them again. I have not fished one of the new ones, but the old ones, I have a 5.5-foot or 5-foot 5-inch 5-weight. Pretty cool little rod. Not great for casting, but great for just getting your fly up to the next plunge pool. A lot of people talk about fiberglass. Now, here's my fiberglass caveat, and I think I said this in the podcast about small stream rods. A slow fiberglass rod is a lot of fun to catch fish on, to pull fish in and have it bend over. And, especially if you're catching those small 6-8-inch brookies, it'll get that bend in it, and that's really cool, and, nothing wrong with that. My only concern with a rod that is too slow is that you're not going to be able to get the accuracy in the back cast that you want when fishing in small streams. So I think I've explained that before, but just I think this is really important for people to understand. When you're casting a small mountain stream and you have canopy, your back cast is going to be what is obstructed way more than your forward cast. So having a little bit stiffer rod allows you to control the trajectory of your back cast if you can throw a tighter loop and then make your forward cast and it still be soft enough to not spook away fish. So that's my only caveat with glass, and you can even say cane and softer graphite. It's just to be kind of aware that you might run into some issues if you're throwing wider loops. Doesn't mean you can't modify your casting stroke with a softer rod to accommodate and throw that tighter loop, or even just change your casting stroke up completely so you have a real low profile either to the side or behind you in low cast. But for me, I really want to focus on what's in front of me and know that I can turn over a quick, tight loop behind me. So again, nothing against fiberglass rods. And again, I know they're making a lot of faster fiberglass rods these days, but that's just, you can't broad brush fiberglass and say, yes, they're all great because they bend over and you can feel, 8-inch brook trout. You need to be aware that some of them might not be best suited for the environment that you're in. Let's see. The other great piece of feedback I got from Mark Whitman. Mark's a great guy. His website is fishingsmallstreams.blogspot.com, and Mark is another Massachusetts guy. He mentioned that I should put in how many pieces are in these rods in my reviews. I've yet to get around to that, but I definitely should do that just because a lot of guys do like to go backpacking. I know that I take my 4-piece rods and my 6-piece rods a lot more than I take my 2-piece rods. And you think for a small stream fly fishing, like this is a 7-foot rod or maybe a 6.5-foot rod, 2 pieces is nothing. Well, it's nothing in the back of your car, but it's something when it's strapped on the back of your pack. So that's definitely some good critique or even accusation, if you will. With fiberglass, we got Blue Halo, a brand called Cane and Silk, Echo River Glass, and another one with Echo. A couple people like the Echo, and the 6-foot 9-inch 3-weight. I had a couple people that recommended that rod. So again, you see kind of a split. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's 2019, and I know that fiberglass has seen quite the resurgence, but it's at the point now where the feedback I've gotten here, and then back in a couple other articles I've written, fiberglass has really become about a equal market share as far as a go-to, particularly for guys fishing smaller water. So, is there a small stream fly rod that you love, whether it be glass or graphite or cane? Whether you made it or whether you bought it off the rack at a big box store, let me know what it is. I think it's really cool to hear what people are fishing and why they're fishing it, the experiences they've had, and even how they got the rod. So definitely shoot me an email at matthew@castingacross.com or DM me through one of my channels and let me know. The next thing I wanted to respond to was a lot of the feedback that I got from an article I posted just a few weeks ago called 3 Things to Leave and 3 Things to Take. And this was just really a exercise in minimalism, like what kind of stuff are you taking on the stream that you just don't need on the stream? What kind of things do you have in your person that you could probably put in a compartment on your boat somewhere? And not like, taking one spool of tippet off of your tippet ring is going to, by tippet ring I don't mean the tiny little tippet ring in your leader, but the ring where all your spools tippet are. That's not going to make you super lightweight and make you a more agile fly fisher and all those things, but it speaks to how much stuff you're carrying with you. And so kind of just exploring that. And I had some really good feedback on that. So I want you, if you want to know what I said, the 3 things I think you should leave and 3 things you should bring, you should go read that at the website. But Mark is with Tie-Rite, the little tool, which I love it because my boys can tie their own knots using the Tie-Rite. A 4-year-old tying a knot using a little tool, it's worth its weight in gold. And so he says definitely take the Tie-Rite with you, but then he adds a sharp line cutter. I think that's key. I have a crazy expensive pair of nippers. I'm sure you've seen them. I don't like the attention to detail you have to use when using cheap nippers. Or cheap clamps, because you spend. it feels like to me an inordinate amount of time lining things up, and especially if it's thicker or braided or fluorocarbon, especially like the butt section of something, you really have to torque down on it. So if you have something sharp and you can just go through it like butter, you can make those precise cuts, and everyone's happy. He also says bug spray. That's huge. I can remember a day on the Bat and Kill in Vermont, and it was great. There was fish coming up everywhere. Well, they were coming up everywhere because there was bugs everywhere, and it wasn't just the aquatic insects that were coming up, but the mosquitoes were off. And it's the only time I can remember in my life where I've stopped fishing because the bugs were so bad, and I didn't have a can of bug spray or anything with me. So that's, I think, even if you have the tiny travel size, having that on your person for a situation like that, or even a situation where they're a mild nuisance, is definitely wise. I had some other people write in about just the all the different things that they carry and how small it is. Somebody said to not even carry fly boxes. There's another article on the website just about how few flies you actually need, and I would say for most people, it is totally unnecessary to carry fly boxes. Just throw a handful on whatever device you use to dry your flies, whether it be a fly patch on your vest or a little clip on your hat, or I use the fly traps. There's more than enough if you're going out just for the day and you know exactly what flies you're going to be using. Again, small streams, spring creeks, if you're just a guy who's going to definitely fish streamers, if you know there's a hatch going on, throw those other things, tools, flies, whatever, in your car, and bring the things you know on the stream that chances are you're going to use on the stream. Bring those things with you, and you won't be at a loss for things that you actually need. So kind of want to wrap up that portion relatively quickly and switch over to the what appeared on castingacross.com this week. 2 articles. The first one is on Father's Day gift guide. So this is released 2 weeks before Father's Day, and what I want you to know is that these are not man-only gifts. They're not Father's Day-only gifts. They're just things that I've been using recently that I enjoy, that I think that you would appreciate. So the first one, and kind of the headline gift that I think is wicked cool, is the Redington ID reel. So I love Redington reels. I've fished the Zero. I fished the Behemoth. I've played around with the Grande. Very inexpensive and very high performing. Are they the same as your $500 machined reels? No. But are they worth every penny of $80, $90, $100? Absolutely. Rock solid drags, pretty durable. Dropped mine on the rocks, never had any problems. I'm pretty careful with my gear, but the times I have bumped them, it hasn't thrown them off of center or made them hard to screw onto the reel seat or anything like that sometimes you get with cast reels. So the ID is a cast reel. One side of it is totally flat, and it's meant to accept a sticker. Some people might be rolling their eyes already with that. Well, if that's not your thing, great, fine, whatever. But I love it because I had my boys, my 4-year-old and my 7-year-old, I gave them little templates, and I said, hey, color some fish stuff. And they went to town. I got little drawings of schools of fish. I got a brook trout skin. I got a rainbow trout skin. I got a shark. And all I did was use some sort of adhesive paper that's UV safe and cut them out and stick them on there. And now I have a customized reel with my child's artwork on it. This would be an awesome gift for the dad, grandpa, uncle, whoever in your life to print that off, stick it on there, give it to them. They can take their child or child in their life's artwork out on the stream on a very functional reel and relatively inexpensive. The whole thing you can do for under $10, I would say. So check out the specs for those templates on Casting Across's Father's Day gift guide. Real quick, the other products, the Angler's Pint, from Karen Talbot. These are awesome. Orvis is carrying them. LL Bean's carrying them. You go to our website, there's about a dozen fish species. They're big, solid glasses that take a full 16-ounce can, which is important these days. Leather patch hats from Mana Fly Fishing. This is a Rhode Island company, and they source their stuff relatively locally from like a regional perspective. Really cool, distinctive colorways. I have a hat that you've probably seen if you follow me on social media that I've worn on and off. It's navy blue and dark red, which is really cool. But then they also have these leather patches right in the front. So there's a billion hats out there. So finding something different and unique is a little bit of a challenge. But these hats from Mana are pretty cool. Frilled leaders from Appalachian Frilled Leader Company. If you know that you have somebody in your life who fishes small streams, fishes Euro nymphing, with a cider, these are definitely worth checking out. And right now there's packages for like $25. You can get a couple liters and some leader grease. And then the Rogue Quick Draw Mitten Clamps, I put these in the recommendation from a kind of a previous episode. Just really solid clamps that have the carabiner attached to them. So you can just snap it on and snap it off crazy fast. And for me, that's worth paying a few extra bucks. And lastly, the Wader Fly Wallet from Vitavoo. Vitavoo has updated all their fly wallets and is now using the loop side Velcro, which holds flies very well. And this little wader pocket, it's built so that it can like go on a wader strap, so you don't even need it inside of anything. So all about minimalism. I love fly wallets because they're not rigid like a fly box. So if you ever crammed a fly box in a pair of jeans, like in your pocket, or like cargo shorts, which I think fly fishing is still a appropriate time and place to use cargo shorts or cargo pants for that matter. But anyway, you put a fly box in a pants pocket or in a wader pocket or in an internal pocket of a vest or a sling pack, and it's rigid up against you. As long as you're not fishing stuff with delicate hackles, you throw those things in a fly wallet, and you can put it anywhere, and it's going to not be rigid. So Vitavoos are awesome. There's spots for split shot and for strike indicators and for extra leaders in them as well. So that was Monday's article, a little bit more in depth on that. And then Wednesday's article was called 6 Ways to Approach Teaching Fly Casting. Fly fishing isn't fly casting, but at the same time, your success will dramatically improve if you know how to get your fly where you want to get it. So I found that I want people to cast before they fish if we're going to go fishing for some prolonged period of time. Otherwise, I feel like people can get frustrated. So this article is just some ways to think about kind of how to introduce fly casting to somebody and ways that you might need to prepare as an already accomplished angler and fly caster, how you might need to prepare to cast, not just cast, but to do casting instruction. Today's recommendation is Trident Fly Fishing's YouTube channel. Trident Fly Fishing is a fly shop in outside of Portland, Maine, but they have a strong online presence, and they have a YouTube channel where they do some of the best reviews of products out there. They're very practical, straightforward. They have comparisons. So, Rod X is a little bit softer than Rod Y. We love Rod A because it can do this certain type of presentation in these conditions. Rod B does that slightly differently, but, you still get the advantages of you see what I'm saying. They do it with fly rods. They've started doing them more with reels, but it's a great way to kind of get some preliminary information before you go to a shop and cast. And they have, again, a very robust store, so you're able to pick up the things that they are making videos about, and it's just a great resource. Definitely worth checking out. So Trident Fly Fishing, you just put that in the YouTube search, and you will find them, and I think you'll appreciate the kind of stuff that they're put out content-wise. Thanks for listening to the Casting Across Fly Fishing Podcast. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast app and rate the podcast in iTunes. Then head over to castingacross.com, where you'll find more info on this podcast and 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.